This is why you should always lock your front doors. A kid living with both of his parents decided to watch a movie for their family weekly movie night. He then gets up to use the restroom. As he is in the restroom, he sees all of the power in the house cuts off, and then he hears 2 loud thumps. He locks the bathroom door and hears heavy objects being dragged across the hallway. The kid, freaking out, runs out of the bathroom and runs into the restroom. Once he is inside the room, he locks the door. As he locks the door, he jumps in bed and acts like he's asleep in hopes that this person who is in the house will ignore a child sleeping. He closes his eyes and hears the door creak at the same time. He squints his eyes and sees a man with no eyes dragging the bodies of both of his parents. The man dragging his parents sits his mom's dead body in a chair facing him, and then sets the dad's body on the floor facing up. It was almost like whoever was in the house who killed them wanted him to see it. He then sees the man writing something on the wall and then climbs under his bed. He laid there for hours knowing that if he moved a muscle he would end up just like his parents. He finally built up enough courage to read the wall, and the writing on the wall said, "I know you're awake."
This is why you shouldn't play around with dark magic. When I was in high school, I started getting into witchcraft. It started with simple things like making myself feel better, charms, etc. I had a best friend who ignored me when she got into a relationship with her boyfriend. I was jealous of the relationship and I wanted my friend back. One day I did a spell to break them up. I didn't think much of it at first, but then a week later they actually broke up. When I saw that it worked, I became more confident and I wanted to dive deeper. I bought this really old ritual book from a sketchy website online. There was a spell in the book that was an incantation to summon the dead, and I was curious. I got a brass bowl and filled it with water, a pentagram, and a knife. The only thing I forgot was to protect myself with a salt line. I did the incantation, and to seal the spell, I had to cut my hand and spill my blood into the bowl. As the blood dropped into the bowl, I remember an overwhelming feeling of grief. Lastly, I poured the mixture on my chest. When I laid back, I felt the pressure on my chest as if someone was stepping on it. Then the lights flickered and I felt off. After a few minutes, nothing happened, so I thought the spell was a dud. I cleaned off and went to bed. However, all night, I felt like something was in the room with me. Things only went downhill from here.
Story time about the time my supposed friends tried to pull up to fight me. So I had just got off of work and picked up my kids from daycare and I heard my doorbell ring. So of course I looked through the people and I see 3 of my friends, so I opened up the door. Soon as I open the door, all I hear is, "I heard you this and that." And I'm confused, so I'm like, hold up, what's going on? What you not about to do is come to my door with this bullshit after I done worked all day. So I closed my door and went to change my clothes. So when I was finished, I told my supposed friends, hold on, I gotta go pick my mama up from work because I was using her car. And what I wasn't about to do is have my mama wait while I beat her bitch up. Yup. So I left to go pick my mama up, and when she got in the car, I just ran into her about everything that was going on, and I just told her, no disrespect to you, but I'm not about to let nobody come to my house talking crazy to me and think they gonna get a pass. Like, one thing about me, I ain't no punk. You ain't about to play with me. So when we made it home, tell me why these bitches was still waiting outside my house. If y'all want to know what happened after this, let me know if y'all want me to post for it too.
Hey y'all, it's me, Bree. I know it's been a few days, but I'm back. And I'm back with a story time. So, story time on my worst client. And not only was she my worst client, she also did not pay me. So this was like a year and a half ago. I was fairly new to taking clients at my house because I used to travel. I used to be a travel nail tech. But yeah, so we're going to call her Braids because I believe she had braids. So we're going to call her Braids. So Braids came to her appointment. I really didn't get no red flags from her. You know, prior to her appointment, everything was just like normal. Only significant thing I really remember is her being on the phone the whole appointment with somebody and her asking me why I didn't use the same color nail tips that the nail salon used, like them little cloudy little tips they be using. I use clear ones, obviously. So that's the only thing I really remember that she said. So I finished her nails. We get to the end of the appointment and it's time for her to pay me. So I was like, yeah, your balance is $90. And she was like, okay, I'm going to send it through Cash App. So she tries to send it and she's like, it didn't go through, and Cash App is saying that they're having some problems on their end. So I just like believed her, you know, because if you use Cash App, you know that Cash App is always having some type of technical difficulty. So I'm like, okay, maybe we can go upstairs. There's better service up there. And if it doesn't work, you can connect to my hotspot. And if the hotspot don't work, I also accept Apple Pay, Zelle, Cash, and somebody else can also send me my money. She's like, okay, so we go upstairs and she tries again and it still doesn't go through. She connects to the hotspot. It still doesn't go through. So I'm looking at Braids and Braids is looking at me and I'm just like, well, Braids, you owe me $90. You know, call who you need to call to see if they can send my money and you can reimburse them. something, but you jolly can't leave without me getting my money. So at this point, we are on my porch, and if you're a client of mine, you know that I have a ring in the front of my house. I actually have 2 rings. Something. I was one of those people, extra nice, very accommodating, but she decided to take advantage of me. So literally, like, we're still waiting on the porch, like 30 minutes go past. Like, my father comes outside, he's like, what's going on? I'm just like, well, Cash App have some technical difficulties. She can't send me my money. She said all her money's on Cash App. She don't have no bank account. She don't have no other card. She only has Cash App. So Cash App not working. She can't send me my money. She can't leave. He's like, so nobody else can send it? I'm like, we already covered that and they can't, so no. So, I'm back talking to her. I'm like, I understand Cash App is down and all. You're a new client. This is your first time here. I don't know you. I just can't let you leave, without paying, because I'm not guaranteed to get that money back. So she's all like, well, I'm not going to do that to you. I got kids. I got my own business of my own. I'm not even like that. I promise you, as soon as Cash App gets up later, I'm going to send you my money. The request is still in my Cash Apps. I'm not going to cancel them. I'm going to just let them go through. You're going to get your money. So me being the nice, sweet, naive, nailed by breed that I am, I let Shawty leave. Because, what can I do? You're literally standing on my porch 45 minutes after I didn't finish your nails. I look crazy. Braids look crazy. We both look crazy. So I ended up letting her leave. I told her that I would text her later if I don't get the notification. And she's like, oh my God, thank you. I'm going to send you your money. But y'all not going to believe what happened next. And this is going to have to be a part 2. But these is my client's now. She's going to Jamaica. I hope she has fun. Part 2.
Part 2 about how my mom got with my sister's boyfriend. So like I said, Emily, Ben, and my mom were out drinking 24/7 at the bar. And since this was a vacation that we took every year, my sister already knew a bunch of people down there. The one night my mom started feeling really sick at the bar, so Ben offered to take her back to the hotel. And at this time, my friend, my dad, and I were all down at the buffet in the hotel. So Ben took my mom upstairs to our hotel room, and my dad was like, oh, do you guys want to walk down to the fair? We said yes, so he told us to go upstairs and get his wallet. So my friend and I go up in the elevator to our room, and I want to say this was about 20 or 30 minutes after Ben and my mom had went upstairs. So we get into the room, we hear the shower running, which was weird because we didn't think anybody was there. So instead of me calling my dad because it might have been a murderer, I go, and the door slightly creaked open, so I look through the door, and obviously I could hear you know what, but hers and his clothes were on the floor. Like for part 3.
Am I the asshole for calling my fiance a fucking embarrassment? I've been seeing my fiance for about 4 years now, and I came into the relationship with 2 sons. They are 12 and 9. Once a year, me and the boys go to my family's vacation home with my entire family. My fiance has never attended, but now that we are engaged in merging families, my family asks that he come too. I explained to him prior to us coming to the family retreat during our week's stay with the family that my kids do not have a bedtime. We do a lot of night activities such as night swimming in the pool, karaoke, fires, nightly strolls, all of that. So during the week, my kids absolutely do not have a bedtime. This is how it's always been. I made it clear that the bedtime was not to be enforced like at home because this is vacation. And I'm not making my kids miss out on nightly activities. So, he was fully aware. Please note that this is the only time that I've seen this side of him that I will mention. When we first got there the first night, you can already tell that he's uncomfortable with the boys staying up past their bedtime. He was stressing out because the boys were still in the pool at 10 p.m. and he felt like they should be in bed already. I reminded him at least twice that we were not enforcing a bedtime here and that he had to let it go the first night. The second night, 9 p.m. rolls around and the boys were still up and my fiance kept dropping comments like, "You're lucky you're still awake right now. You should be in bed." Saying it right in front of my mom, who looked mortified that he had such an attitude. I told him to cut the fucking shit in private. He tells me that he thinks it's fucked up and that it's going to be terrible trying to get them back on their schedule.
Part 2 about my psychotic best friend. So like I said, my sister was like, "No, what are you talking about?" So at this point, I'm thinking, oh, this girl's really weird. But it gets even worse. She comes over my house one day to hang out with me and goes in my sister's room the whole time. My sister dyed her hair black, so what does she do? She dyes her hair black too. The obsession was like really fucking weird. Anyway, so the one night that Gia's over, yes, I still had her over after this because I didn't think it was really weird at the time. My sister had her boyfriend over and they were in the living room watching a movie, and the whole time Gia is begging me to go in the living room and watch the movie with them. So I'm like, fine, whatever, we'll do that. We go into the living room, we all sit on the couch, and my couch is kind of small, so like we all had to squish. So she sits her ass right next to my sister's boyfriend. Well, my sister's boyfriend got up and started freaking the fuck out. Well, turns out that Gia was trying to touch him under the blanket. So I told her to leave. The next day I got a whole paragraph of her saying that she just wanted to be like my sister because she never had an older sister. Part 2 about why I beat up my best friend. So like I said, I learned how to do my hair and makeup, and she went on vacation for like a month straight. Well, when she came home, she threw another party, and she was like, "Don't worry, after I'm done getting ready, I'll do your makeup and do your hair." And I was like, "No, it's fine, I got it." She literally looks at me and she goes, "Are you sure? You don't really know how to do that. Like, it'll probably look really bad." And I'm like, "Why the fuck would you say that?" She goes, "No, like, I don't mean it to be rude. It's just that, like, I want you to look good in front of the boys and stuff like that." Like, sis tried to talk me into getting a shower for a full, like, 20 minutes. So after that, the whole night, she's literally being a pick-me girl. She's making all these comments about me in front of the boys, and I just keep brushing them off until her next party. We got ready, and I put on these expensive shoes that I had just bought, and she goes, "Wow, you just, like, really like to copy my style, don't you?" So she starts making comments that whole night about how my family's poor and stuff like that, and she threw up all over my shoes. So I dumped the trash can that everybody had threw up in that night on her, punched her in the face, but like 2 months later, she came to my house and apologized.